Very good morning, friends. This is Suman Kumar. Today, I would like to demonstrate the working of my Photosite project using Ruby on Rails, deployed and successfully running on Amazon EC2 instance. So, as you can see from the requirements of this project, initially the project contains the introduction, demonstration, and this project works fine successfully, and the YouTube URL. We will discuss more about the special issue 1 and special issue 2. Okay. Uh, as you know, Amazon EC2 is a infrastructure as a service and a platform as a service offered by Amazon. More details are available on the internet. Before I get into details of the implementation, I would like to show the results of this project. If you see, the Amazon instance is Suman Photosite, which is the name, and please take note of the public IP address, which is 18.218.153.128. If you actually see the results, which is shown in the Chrome browser, it's 18.218.153.128 at 3000, wherein the Ruby on Rails is running on my Amazon instance. To satisfy the requirements of this project, you can see the user index, which lists all the 6 users on 18.218.153.128 slash user slash index, followed by, this is for photo, which is the same Amazon instance IP address, photo slash index slash 1, and this is for comment, EC2 IP address, comment slash index slash 7. So let's go ahead and see how it is actually implemented. So once you log in using Amazon Web Instance, my login is Suman CSUEB. I have used Horizon email account for launching the instance. You can see Suman CSUEB. This is my Amazon account. Once you go, you can actually create a launch instance. When you create the launch instance, it will ask you which server do you want to select. For our project, we are going to use Ubuntu server 16.04. When you click select, it will give you various options. We will use the free tier eligible, that is general purpose option. You click on configure the instance details. We will get into individual instance details. We will leave it as is. We will configure the security group here. You can add a new rule where you allow all the TCP IP packets, and here you will allow from anywhere in the world. There is no specific IP address with which you actually block. And finally, you create a review and launch. So once you do that, your Amazon instance will actually get started and it moves into running state. It's very important to note the IP address 18.218, which is your public IP address. This has a private IP and a public IP. We would be more interested in the public IP, which can be accessed from anywhere in the world. Okay, so the screenshots is of this entire operation which I did just now is shown below for your reference. More importantly, once we create the instance, it will actually ask you for the PEM key, which is the security instance. If you can see this, it is actually asking for uh, the PEM key. These are security details, which I'll not get into much details at this point in time. Okay, so you went ahead, you selected, you clicked review and launch, and you did a launch. Can you see here? I'm using the existing key PEM, right? You can create a new key pair, for example, someone. Now testing. Now testing. Okay, so once you do that, you can actually download a key pair. So this is your PEM file. Can you see it is a private RSKey PEM file? Okay, now you launch the instance. Actually, I have launched a couple of instances for my test practice, so I wanted to show you this step. The detailed screenshots will actually give you in the output. Once the PEM is launched, you will actually see the screen of instances being launched. Once the instance is launched, we need to take note of the important step of the IP address. We need to launch this IP from our Ruby on Rails. This IP 18.218.153.128. Let's go ahead and do the Ruby on Rails. This is the Ruby on Rails editor. First thing we are going to do is go to Tools, Deployment, Configuration, and here you actually create a new configuration, say Suman test EC2. It is important we select the protocol SFTP. Once you click OK, it is asking you the SFTP host. In our case, go back to the screen. We have gone to deployment, configuration, SFTP host. SFTP host is the IP address from my Amazon instance. What is the SFTP host? 18.218.153, right? And you select it as SFTP. Now username is Ubuntu and password. Instead of that, we go for a key pair. You browse the key pair, select CSV key pair, and go ahead and test the connection. See, connection is successfully connected to the IP 18.218.153.128, 18.218.153.128 from my Amazon Web Instance. Okay, so connection is successful. Now, similarly, once the connection is successful, we need to map the Photosite project onto Ubuntu server. So you go to configuration. Instead of connection tab, go to mappings tab. Here you are creating a directory called Suman Photosite in your home Ubuntu of your EC2 instance of this IP address. So once you add that, you will get Suman Photosite, your EC2 IP address. Suman Photosite is the complete project R1 code which is deployed successfully on the EC2 instance. To do this, we also need to update the packages in Ubuntu. So you go to Tools, start a new SSH session. Here it is asking for which SSH, for which instance do you like the SSH session. We will select Suman Photosite, which we created just now. Can you see the terminal changed immediately to 18.218.153.128. So let's start to run in sudo login. First thing you should do is apt-get update to install all the packages. I have updated just now, so there will be nothing to be updated. Apt-get upgrade. See, you also need to install gem, node.js, and Rails and SQLite 3, which is I have already done to get this project successfully working. If you want, you can just see if it is already installed. So I'm clearing, so the view is clear. Okay, see, nothing to be installed because I installed just now. So once you install, you run this Rails command to start the Ruby on Rails server on EC2 instance. So how do I verify whether that is working or not? All these steps have been detailed step by step in my project report. Can you see, once the connection is active, you can see it successfully executed. This is where you configured the Suman Photosite. This is where it has shown the output as success in start SSH session. You have selected Suman Photosite, and then here you go. Here is where you uploaded the code onto the Ubuntu of the server. This is a message showing that the upload is successful, and ls has actually showed me the output. Now we are actually running the Ruby on Rails, the Rails server on remote SSH. Can you see the IP address? It is of my Amazon instance IP. How do I know that this Amazon instance Rails is running? So instead of localhost /3000, I give Amazon instance IP :3000, and as you see, you're on Rails. That means Rails is server is successfully running on my Amazon EC2 instance. Similarly, all the user slash index of all the photo, as well as photo slash index slash one, as well as comment slash index slash 7. So all the three requirements have been successfully running on my EC2 instance. So the section 3 provides the screenshot. There is no uh, issue with this project. It has successfully met all the requirements given on the website. So let's talk about the special issue 1 and 2. What happens when an instance stops working? There are two important things. One is if the storage is non-volatile, or the second thing is whether the storage is persistent. Depending on the type of storage which we choose while creating the instance, the detailed options, if you remember, which I showed you during the beginning stage. In ephemeral instances, the public IP, private DNS, public DNS all gets erased, which means they are no longer associated with the same instance, which means every time you log in again, you get a different IP, which is problematic for some applications. To overcome that, if you want to have a dedicated uh, private IP, Amazon has something called Elastic Block Store, wherein the private type, which will also not only store the state information like your process control block of operating system, which can be retrieved and persistent even when the instance stops working. As with any feature, there is a cost associated with it, which is what I have pulled up from Amazon website and documented it. There is an interesting thing when you reboot rather than shut down. There is a difference between reboot and restart, which is stop and start. Uh, on reboot, there are again two options. One is you can have the private IP as is, but public IP being changed, which is again problem. And Amazon has an interesting feature called VPC, where both the private and public IP address remain the same even if you reboot until termination. So that's the subtle difference. Um, the other advantage is the cost. If you're rebooting an instance, it does not start a new billing cycle, which is very important to keep track of your expenses to pay for Amazon. And these are some of the main differences. Other minor differences is something which I mentioned in my report. Coming back to other very interesting topic, EC2 versus Elastic Beanstalk. EC2 is nothing but a simple virtual machine, which are called instances. You can create a number of such instances. But if you want a full-fledged comprehensive portfolio to manage your entire product line, which can be scaled, Beanstalk is the option to go for. It contains full-fledged PHP stack, and you can configure Elastic Beanstalk instance containing only few key core components like security group, auto scaling group, and elastic load balancer. Or you want to have a complete product portfolio including all these core components and n number of EC2 instances. You can as well add a database, although it's optional. And the best part is there is no additional cost from Amazon which is being charged to use this service. So if you use 40 hours of EC2 usage, then you pay only for 40 computing hours. That's the best part, but you're actually getting much more benefits than managing your own EC2 instance. A typical usage of Elastic Beanstalk includes managing a website. If you have all the HTML pages and PHP pages on your GitHub, which is version control, you can link that to RubyMine IDE, and automatically during deployment, uh, the new version is automatically picked up and deployed in your Amazon Web Instance. And for some reason, if your website is getting 10,000 hits immediately, you can scale up within a fraction of minutes using Elastic Beanstalk, because creating n instances is as easy as creating the instance which we saw in this exercise, which is 5 minutes. So that's the main advantage. And it's like a manager managing all these resources and providing an environment for n number of instances, whereas Elastic EC2 instance is just an instance where the managing lies overhead lies on the user. As far as the challenges and learning goes, there were a couple of uh, important things which stood out during my learning. One is the routing of the TCP packets, and next thing is configuring the IP address in my RubyMine IDE with the deployment, and actually uploading it onto remote server. And most importantly, since it's a new Ubuntu machine, I had to install all the packages with the remote SSH session. And with all these learnings and the success of this project, I am confident enough to give a short session and explain it to the newcomers to get this going. And as with output, this project has met all the requirements as detailed, including the 7 sections, which is detailed in the website, including the issue analysis and EC2 versus Elastic Beanstalk. And thank you. Thank you for watching this video.